Well, Gertrude and I picked these berries, and they're going to need a bit of work. Clearly, we need to separate the twigs and all the rest. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to just clean them from there. I'll put the junk here. So there we go. Now we got a plan. Okay, so this is working well. Just simply strip the cherries off. So as I mentioned when I was picking, I would have liked them to be just a little bit darker. But the problem is that the birds love them too. And well, and so do other people. And so I have found that sometimes it's best to grab an early harvest to ensure that you get one, and then go back and get some later. So the purpose of this is we are going to make juice. Every year my wife and I make wild berry juice, which lasts us a full year. I think we have about 5 or 6 jars left from last year. And the chokecherries are an essential part of our blend. We like to use high bush cranberry. The problem with high bush cranberry is it smells like rotten socks and it doesn't taste very nice. And so it really does need some help. And so what we do is we mix the high bush cranberry with wild crabapple and with chokecherries. But typically what we do is we store all of our chokecherry concentrate juice together, because this is the first one that comes due. And then we'll just keep that until the rest come due, and then finally we'll do a blend and a bottling, and then we'll store them, and we're good. So today we're actually going to make the juice. This is just the the boring part before. Well, once we get this all cleaned up, then we're going to start with the juice making process. Gertrude likes to help out, don't you, girl? You heard your name. Oh yeah, you can go back to bed there. Go back to sleep, it's okay. All right, well, while you're up, say hi. Yeah, so we're getting some nice berries here. What a beautiful bounty. We sure are blessed to have this. So this is how you want them. Look how dark that is. That's the goal. And that's really hard to achieve when you're out scavenging. This is what we've been getting. And I'm not sure if you can see, but that's the seed, and it's pretty sizable. It's like half of the size, and then there's a skin, so there's not a heck of a lot on these. Okay, so here we are. We've got these all clean. Here's our berries. They're ready for the next step. Oh. Don't want the rotted ones. Okay, that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these inside and get them all rinsed up. This is leftover. That's going to the compost. I'm on lunch break right now at work, and so I've pretty much used up my lunch, so I'm going to go away and go back to work, and then we'll catch you all in the garden for the next step. Okay, so I'm going back to work. You look after things here, okay? Okay, so welcome to Parody Garden, and we are going to make chokecherry concentrate. So earlier we cleaned up our chokecherries. I took them in and washed them. And so the first step is to put them in water. And basically, you only want enough water till they float. Not much more than that. Just maybe like 1/8 of an inch over, so that they're all covered over, but they're starting to float. You don't want too much water, and you don't want too little water. So I have my trusty master chef here, all plugged in. I think we got some heat happening, yeah. So basically we're just going to let this boil. So this is some of the 3 blend that we made last year. Again, it's got chokecherry, and it's got high bush cranberry, and it's got crab apples. I pour half a jar of this into a nice big juice container, and then fill the rest with water. A little bit of sugar, and you're good to go. It's delicious and sparkling water. It's good, and it keeps quite a long time actually. So once this starts to get a little hotter and starts to boil a bit, we're going to add some sugar. Sugar's an important part of the preservative. I don't like to put too much sugar in, so we only put a little bit in. I'm sure if you Googled it, you could find out the exact amount of sugar required, but I'll show you when we put the sugar in, and we like to keep it a little less sugary. We can't forget that this is going to be added to more juices, and so for example, the crab apples have a lot more sugar already in them, so less sugar is going to be needed. While we're waiting for the chokecherries to boil, I thought I'd show you our crab apple tree. So these crab apples are coming along really nice. See, they're starting to get red. And there are lots. This is going to be a very good year for them. This crab apple tree only produces every other year. So every other year we're out scavenging. There's enough crab apples here for our requirements, so we won't need to go out and search for any, unless we want a little more flavor or a different flavor, but really we have more than enough here. So this is just heating up. We're going to wait for this to boil. So the idea is once we get this to a boil, we're going to let it boil for 15 minutes. So it's my understanding that pretty much all bacteria is killed at well under a boil. So if you were only interested or concerned about bacteria, then you could go to that golden mark. You should Google it if you're interested in that. I think it's about 140 degrees or something that bacteria cannot carry on above that. However, if you're concerned about viruses, you need 212 degrees, or you need 101 degrees Celsius in order to kill a virus. And so given the fact that there's shithawks flying all over the place and birds and bugs, we're a little concerned about viruses. So it's really good practice to let it boil. Bring it to a full boil. 15 minutes is pretty much all you need. Well, I'm starting to see a little steam coming off of there, so we're getting there. I'm hoping that the master chef has enough gumption to boil this, but because it doesn't seem to be getting red. I thought they were supposed to get red, but maybe it's a safety grill. I don't know, but we're gonna see. We're going for it. Oh yes. Very nice. Staring at the garden, I'm getting hungry. It's supper time. Wondering what to make for supper. Make. I wonder what I should fetch for supper. So it's getting hotter. Oh, there it's steaming up. Yes, we got a little bit of a boil, but not enough yet. Not enough. We want a good rolling boil. But I can see the berries are now starting to break open. So that's a good thing. We want the berries to break open and for the seeds to split out and just, whoop, too close again. Anyway, it'll be a little while yet. While I was waiting, I went and picked a salad. Oh yes. I think I'll go inside and clean those up. Look at those peas. I used to hate peas as a kid. So we can see that the berries are swelling up now and starting to break. Oops. Yeah, so every time I bring it in, we get all fogged up. But there, that's better. So I mentioned how we like to use high bush cranberry, and actually that's the whole purpose of this juice. The high bush cranberry is really, really good for you. And so all of the apple and the chokecherry, that's all just to help to help with the flavor and the taste. Yeah, so we got a better boil happening here. So now we're starting to, that's the sugar we have. It's, you know what, folks, sugar's poison. It's a drug, but it's really required in the preserving process. I don't exactly know how much, and I really should learn, but I just put a bit in, and the reason I use this processed white granulated poison it's what works the best. I think it'll be more prudent to wait till after I've strained this and then determine how much sugar to put in and do a reboil. I think that might be a better idea. That way I know exactly how much juice I have here. I ran off and I googled how much sugar was required, and it really varies depending on what you're making. I don't think Oma ever measured it. She just knew. She just poured. So, and I asked Sue, and she says, well, she can't remember, but Google it. So now there's a good vigorous boil. I had to give up on that easy oven, that easy bake magic oven, the broil grill thing I was using. It just couldn't bring it up to enough temperature. So here we go. We're just going to run this for like 15 minutes, and then I'm going to take it back out and we'll do the next step. Okay, so we're back again. And we've got a nice pot here. This is boiling once again. And so we've had this boiling for a good 30 minutes now. And it's looking to me like it's pretty much ready for the next step. This is a nice clean pillowcase that has been washed. And we are going to use this. We're going to simply put the pillowcase inside. We're going to wrap this around. Next, we'll pour the juice into there. We now gather up the pillowcase and we'll let that hang. Okay, we're back. This rope is clearly more than I need, but what I have. So anyway, that's the other reason why we were under the oak tree, so that we could hang our juice bag. You can see the juice starting to fill up there. There's not a lot. You know, it's going to take several pickings and several batches to accumulate enough. But we'll see. Just going to give this a spin. Causes the fabric to get tighter. Helps to drain a bit. So the longer you let it hang, the more that it'll drip out. But I'm reasonably satisfied that we've squeezed enough out for now anyway. And, we're just going to call it quits on this and move on to the next step. Okay, so I forgot where we were. I had company come over. So we have now strained the juice. It's now in the bucket. We're going to heat this up and we're going to add our sugar. That's how much juice we have. So I would say that's only a cup and a half maybe. So I'm only going to put in half of this. So this is looking good. This is looking good. So we're just going to reboil that. And then we're done. Yeah, you can see the steam pouring off of that. That's pretty much ready. Okay, so we're back. So if we were going to preserve this for a long time, what we would do is we would first sterilize our jars. We'd put them in the oven and sterilize them. Look it up on Google, but you want to have it at a certain temperature for a certain period of time to sterilize them. And then we would pour directly from the hot syrup or concentrate. We will pour into here and then cap it off. Now the reality is, for us here now, there isn't a whole lot, and I'm thinking we're just going to drink it. so I'm not going to worry about the sterilization. I just have a nice clean jar. We're going to pour it in here, and we're going to have this drink, and I'm going to have to go back and pick more berries. That's just the way it is. So from all the berries that we had, that's what we ended up with in the concentrate. Next, what we'll do is we'll cut it with water and we'll see just how concentrated it is. Well, there you have it. Here's our chokecherry concentrate, our finest Bavarian crystal, spring water, and half and half mixture. Perfect. Perfect. I shall call my bride.